Progress.
Test of congruencies. Okay, we are started with test of congruencies, and we saw 4 to 5 tests of congruencies. We'll just revise that, what we saw, and we'll continue with the exercise. So the first test of congruency which we saw was ASA test of congruency. Then ASA means angle, side angle. So in both the triangles, if you manage to prove two angles and the side between those two angles are congruent to each other, then you say it is congruent by ASA test. Second, we saw side angle side. So two sides and one angle has to be congruent. And that angle should be between those two congruent sides. Then only we can say it is congruent by ASAS test, side angle side test. Third, we saw side, 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 triple S. That means all three sides of both the triangles should be congruent to each other. Then you can say that the two triangles are congruent by SSS test of congruency. This was the third thing which we saw. And last, the fourth one, we saw the hypotenuse side test. Hypotenuse side test can be used only in right angled triangle. Okay. Oh, wow. And in this, the side, one side, and the hypotenuse should be congruent to each other. The first thing to check, it should be a right angle. Second thing you should check, any one side of both the triangles should be equal. Third thing you should check, the hypotenuse of both the triangles should be congruent to each other. If all these three criteria are satisfied, then you can say that both the triangles are congruent to each other by hypotenuse side test. Then we did the first exercise, the first three sums we did. So we'll do now the second part. So second one says the activity, you have to complete this activity. So let me do the first one. We'll do this one. Two triangles are given to you. You have to complete this following activity. From the information shown in the figure, in triangle ABC, if you see in triangle ABC and in triangle PQR, first thing, ABC is congruent to PQR because it's given ABC congruent to PQR. Segment BC is congruent to segment QR because you can see because of these two lines, means it is given BC congruent to QR. Then ACB, that is this angle, is congruent to triangle PRQ, that is this angle, which is also given in the question. So you have proved angle, so you have proved here angle, you have proved your side, and here again you have proved angle. So these two triangles are congruent to each other by which test? ASA test. Okay. Now, since the two triangles are congruent to each other, okay, now whenever you say two triangles are congruent to each other, firstly, all of their angles will be congruent to each other. Okay, all the angles will be congruent to each other. So A and P, these also will be congruent to each other. Okay, and all of the sides will also be congruent to each other. Clear? Corresponding angles and corresponding sides will be congruent to each other. So this will be congruent to this side, and this will be congruent to this side. So can you tell me in this box, what should I write? BAC is congruent to?
QPR.
QPR. So angle QPR. And segment AB will be congruent to
PQ.
PQ. And which segment will be congruent to PR?
AC.
AC will be congruent to PR. Okay, so keep one thing in mind, that whenever you prove two triangles are congruent by any of the test. Now, when two triangles are congruent, you can finally or you can directly say that all the corresponding sides will be congruent to each other and all the corresponding angles will be congruent to each other. Is this clear? Now, write this in your textbook itself. Write it with the pencil. Go through it. You're not understanding any step, you can ask.
Done, sir. Done, sir.
Okay, this one answer now you tell me. In triangle PTQ, so PTQ is this one and triangle STR is this side one. Firstly given, this PT is congruent to ST. Then triangle PTQ, that is this angle, is congruent to STR, that is this angle, because they are vertically opposite to each other. Then TQ, that is this angle, is congruent to TR. Okay, it's given. This is also, this is given, and this is also given in the figure. So what can you tell? These two triangles are congruent by which test? This is a side that you proved. This is an angle, and this is again a side. And also when, which test? Angle is between the two sides. In the figure also you can see.
Then hypotenuse side.
No, hypotenuse, for it to be hypotenuse, it has to be right angle, but these are not right angle. See, you have written it also. Side, we have proved a side.
Side angle side.
Side angle side. And whenever you're using side angle side, always make sure that that angle has to be between the two sides. Just confirm it. And in this clearly we can see the angle is between the two sides. So I can confidently say it is congruent to each other by side SAS test. Now, since they are congruent, their corresponding sides and corresponding angles will be congruent to each other. So can you tell me angle TPQ, that is this angle here, will be congruent to which angle?
RTS. No,
R
STR. STR.
STR means you're telling me about this one. STR, you said STR, no? STR means this one, this one.
TSR.
TSR, TSR, correct. Angle TSR and angle TRS, that is this one, will be congruent to which one? Yeah,
PQP. PQP.
TQP, correct, TQP. TQP. And segment PQ, that is this one, will be congruent to segment this one, that is SR. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I hope this is congruent to this and this is congruent to this. Because if you, it is flipped. Okay, actually it is flipped. If you see, no, it is flipped. This is and this one. These two triangles. See, it is joined like this. It is joined like this. But if you flip it like this, then you see exactly it fits. So the corresponding this to this, Q to R, and this was T, no? T to this T, which is common. Got it? Write it down.
Done, sir.
Okay, this looking at it only, you can tell me which by which test will it be congruent to each other. Firstly, you can see there are right angles.
Hypotenuse side test.
Yes, hypotenuse side test. Now in the question, they have said from the given information shown in the figure, state the test assuring the congruence of triangle ABC and triangle PQR. Okay, so first you have to show proof that these two triangles are congruent and by which test. After that, they are also saying write the remaining congruent parts of the triangle. Remaining congruent part. Now by the congruent part, they mean all the congruent sides and all the congruent angles that you have to write in. Okay. So let's start with proving the congruency. Okay. So in triangle ABC and triangle PQR, firstly, we know that angle A is equal to angle Q, that is equal to 90 degree. This is just to confirm that triangle ABC and the triangle PQR are right angle triangles. Okay, this is just to confirm that these two are right angle triangle. After that, segment AB is congruent to segment PQ. This is given. And also hypotenuse BC is congruent to hypotenuse PR. These both are given. So finally you can say that triangle ABC congruent to triangle PQR by hypotenuse side test. Clear this much?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now they are saying write the remaining congruent parts. So the remaining first part would be firstly side AC congruent to side QR. That would be first. So I'll write here. I'll write here remaining congruent part. From there, first is the side AC congruent to side QR. After that, we'll do about the angles, remaining angles. So A and Q are already equal because we know 90 degree. So remaining angles would be angle ABC, that is this one, congruent to angle QBR, that is this one here. Then angle ACB, angle ACB will be congruent to angle this one, QRP. That's it, the remaining congruent parts. Is this equal? Did you understand this?
This way, I don't remember well.
Yes, sir.
Now go through it and write it in your notebook.
This
Done, sir.
Okay, one thing is this is a side. So here we'll write corresponding sides of congruent triangle. Okay, CSCT means corresponding sides of congruent triangle. These two are angles which we proved. So here we can write corresponding angles of congruent triangles. Okay, understand these terms. CSCT, CACT. Corresponding sides, corresponding angles. Write this also into your notebook.
So I wrote this. Wrote that. So
Wrote.
I'll write that CS.
Yeah, this thing only. CSCT and this is CACT, right?
Done, sir.
Fourth question. Fourth question, exactly same like the third one. Can you do this right now? Just by looking at the figure, can you tell me it will be congruent by which test?
Side angle side.
Which angle can you see? Which angle can you see congruent? I can't see any angle. Can you see any angle that is given?
So there are three triangles there, right?
No, there are two triangles only. Don't consider this. Don't consider this. And don't consider. Which to consider, I'll show that. Consider this one. And consider this one. These two triangles. Two triangles. LMN, PNM. One thing note, I'll give you a hint. Both the triangles have a common base.
It would be side.
Yes, side test. So first this side and this side is equal. Then this two lines and here it is equal. And this you give three lines here. That means that it is equal to itself. Okay, so both the triangles have three sides. Common base. And all three sides are congruent to each other. So therefore by side test. Can you write this? Will you be able to write on your own or you want me to write it?
I'll try, sir.
Yeah.
I'll try.
Okay.
Done, sir.
Can you show me? Okay, one more thing here. You have to even write the, yeah, this is correct. Remaining congruent parts. You have to write that also. In the remaining congruent parts, firstly, all sides are congruent that you have shown. So when two triangles are congruent, all angles are also congruent to each other. So whenever they say congruent parts, remaining congruent parts, you have to write the remaining sides and the remaining angles also. Okay. Now in this case, you have already shown the sides. So write angles. Okay. Like for example, angle L is congruent to angle P. Then angle M is congruent to this will be to itself because the base is same, no? So angle M congruent to angle M and angle N congruent to angle N, congruent to itself. Okay, because the base is same. Clear? Write down this. This will be the remaining congruent parts.
So please go back to that. Yeah, done, sir. Done, sir.
Can you try this one? Very much similar to the previous one.
Yes,
Looking at
yes, sir.
yeah,
Yes, yes,
yeah,
yes.
yes. So do it. Do write it yourself.
done, sir.
Let's just join back. The meeting will end now.